Okay, good to go.
Alrighty, ready?
Yep.
Awesome. So here's our problem. Our client is Korean Car Parts. It's a multinational original equipment manufacturer of car parts based in Korea. And they've recently seen a decline in profits and have brought us in to understand how to address this falling profitability.
Okay, so it sounds like what we have here is a international Korean car manufacturer. They actually, sounds like they're an OEM, so would I be right in assuming that they manufacture different parts for automotive cars? So, wheels and chassis and that sort of thing.
That's correct.
Okay, and they have falling profits. They're based in Korea, you mentioned, and we've been brought in to figure out exactly what's going on here. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. Just a couple of quick questions for me. So it sounds like they're sort of they do the research and development of these parts, they manufacture them, and then they sell these to the major car companies worldwide.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And do they have any particular regions that they operate in particular?
Yes, Japan and the U.S.
Okay, fantastic. And just in terms of the market overall, just to get a sense of things, is this a pretty crowded market? I'm not quite familiar with the OEM industry. Is it crowded, many players, and overall, is the market generally doing well, or do we have any information there?
Yeah, there are competitors
Yeah.
in the U.S. Right now, the markets are healthy. There's growing profits in Japan, but U.S. profits are falling.
Okay. Okay, and just final question. How much are our profits falling by, and do we have any particular targets here in terms of getting profits back? Is it just to get back in the green, or are there any particular metrics we're looking at?
Um, go. I can show you a breakdown in a moment.
Okay. So we don't have any particular targets, is that right?
There's no particular target. It's just
Okay,
about maintaining profitability. Yes.
fantastic. Okay. If you could just give me one moment, I'm going to gather my thoughts and come up with an approach for this. Thank you. Okay, so the way that I'm thinking about this problem is across three main areas. So the first, I'm looking at geographic split. The second, I'm looking at the actual products that we produce as a OEM, these different car parts. And the third is I'm looking at really our competitors, so the other OEMs in the market space, to see how we can kind of compare them and get some insights there. So in regards to the geography, you mentioned that we're in the US and in Japan primarily. So here what I'm looking at is, one, is there anything macro happening on the US level, anything macro happening on the Japan level that might be impacting our profits? You mentioned that, overall the market is healthy, but I'd like to look at, if anything's changing across these market landscapes, changes with government regulation, other political, policies, anything economic, anything social, etc. And then, within those landscapes, just kind of what's happening across that consumer base, the competitor base, et cetera. So if we can kind of get this overarching view of these geographies, hone in on if we are individually seeing issues in the US or individually seeing issues in Japan, that can kind of help us figure out what's going on with profitability. Additionally, I know that this is a little bit more on our current base, but perhaps there are opportunities to go elsewhere where profits are going to be higher or profitability will be higher. Moving on into products, what I'm looking at here is really we need to segment out our products to see where there are problems, where we're seeing the largest declines in profits and profitability. So if we have anything here in regards to a list of our products, what's changing in terms of the total profits, margins, volumes, etc., that can help us kind of hone in on what's going on. Also zooming out a little bit on the product space, just from a market level, are certain products more or less popular? Are things changing in terms of the customer preferences for these products, and really ultimately our production of these, right? So we need to look into anything that is changing for us, anything that we have done differently or need to do differently from a product level. And then just finally, we're looking at the other OEMs. One might think there's a little bit of overlap here, but really this is focusing on the competitors. So when I talk about products here, I'm talking about the competitors' products. So what have our competitors been doing differently? Have they been developing additional products, improving the products, changing their production techniques, their prices, etc.? And also here, when I talk about customers, I'm really talking about the customers of the OEMs, right? Have these OEMs been stealing customers? Have they been retaining customers, etc.? So really on the OEM space, I'm just looking at who is winning, who is losing, why are the winners winning and why are the losers losing, right? And so obviously we're in the losing group right now. You mentioned that the overall market is healthy, so we need to figure out why are we losing in an otherwise healthy market. Let's look at what they are doing to make them win and what we need to change to improve that. So just to kind of summarize, I'm looking at this from a geographic level, right? US, Japan, and driving down that way. I'm looking at this from a product level. Let's split all of our major drivers of profit. And then I'm looking at this from a competitor, other OEM level to see kind of what's going on across this mix. So if it sounds all right with you, I'd like to jump first into that geography space. Do we have any view as to whether the US specifically or Japan specifically is driving our profitability loss? If it's in one region, I might jump there first to see, what we can do there.
Sure, yes. So the US market is not declining overall, it's actually increasing and growing.
Yeah.
And competitors in the US market are seeing growth.
So just to confirm, that's on a macro level, but for us as a company, are we seeing the US doing okay in terms of products, or we don't have that information?
Our US profits have fallen.
Okay, got it. Okay. And do we know anything about our Japanese profits, or we really only know about our US profits?
We are seeing good growing profits in Japan.
Okay, so that sounds like we need to dive a little bit deeper into the US market itself. That's where we're seeing this profitability decline. Maybe we can come back to Japan later to see if there's something we can do better there to perhaps counteract the losses in the US. But let's jump first into the US itself. So you mentioned that the US is growing, correct, overall from a market standpoint. So one can presume then that there are some competitors that are doing well there, but we are not doing well there. Do we have any information about our competitors, who those players are, which ones are winning, losing, etc.?
We do. Yes, we have some information on 3 other competitors.
Okay.
Yeah. Good Motors, Harrison, and Crystal Fiat, which I'll show you in an exhibit in a moment.
Okay. I suppose the main thing I'm looking at here, it's really twofold. I'm looking at one, anything around their performance, how they're doing, really just anything around their profitability, etc. And number 2, I'm actually looking to see some sort of product comparison if we have it. This is essentially what products we make, what products they make, and any sort of overlap that we can see that might be able to kind of tell us what's going on here.
Yep. So our client sells the same products across all markets, both Japan and the US, and specializes in 5 different products.
Okay.
And that's carburetors, AC units, wheels, airbags, and seat belts.
Okay.
So I can share with you now the first exhibit.
Absolutely. Okay, So it looks like what we have here is a breakdown of our U.S. profits across the five major product lines that you mentioned. And it looks like this is kind of projected out past, present, and future in terms of our sales. If you can just give me a minute, I'm going to take a look at this and think about what kind of insights we might be able to draw. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, carburetors are going down. Uh, carburetors are seeing an increase in sales as are AC units, but the other three products are actually seeing a decrease in sales. Really, the insider takeaway for me here is, we really need to address these, figure out what's going on with that profitability, and try to resolve that. Now we can fix the falling problem with these profits for those three products, or we can look to drive sales further for the other two. Now, one thing here is this is sales, which to me means revenues, although on the column it says sales, in the title it says profits. I'm just curious, do we have margins for these, or are these the total?
We have some margins.
Okay,
yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I will read these to you.
Yep.
Carburetors have a 50% margin.
Okay.
Wheels have a 25% margin. Airbags, 20%.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. Wheels have a 25%?
Yep. Carburetors, 50%. Wheels, 25%.
Mm-hmm.
And then airbags, 20%. AC units, 40%. And seat belts, 50%.
Okay, fantastic. If you don't mind, if I could just take a look at that exhibit one more time and just see the current and future. So what I'd like to do here is I'd like to look at the change in sales that we're going to see. So really what I'm looking at here is for each of these product lines, I'd like to subtract the future sales from the current sales to look at our decline in sales. And then I'd like to multiply that by the margins that we have to figure out actually how much of a decline we're seeing across each of these. Now, we can already tell that the decline is across these three units. So we can skip this if we like, or if we wanted to quantify this, I can go ahead and calculate this.
We can skip it.
Okay, no problem. So I will just write these numbers down just for future sake, and then we can always come back if we need to. But we're quite clear here that we have these three products that are declining. So just bear with me 1 minute. I'm just going to write these down. Okay, so we have highlighted the fact that we have these three products, wheels, airbags, and seatbelts, that are an issue. Of course, I'd like to figure out what's going on here. So the main thing I'm thinking here, first I want to see if there's some sort of macro level issue with wheels, airbags, and seatbelts where there's a large level customer drop just in general for these products. I'd like to make sure that that's not an issue before I kind of ask my next question. So is there a market level issue of customer demand here?
No, there's not.
There's not. Okay. So no. So we are seeing, kind of economically or across competitors that sales are still up for these products.
Correct.
Okay. Now, quite logically, I'd really like to dive into anything around that. So if we know which competitors are doing well across these products, if we know anything about sort of what customers care about with these products, and then really just something around how well we're performing here, how well competitors are performing, really just overall here, I'm just trying to figure out what makes us different to competitors in the eyes of our customers across these products.
Right. Okay, I can show you, we have some information on competition products.
Okay, fantastic.
Comparing them, so
yep.
I can show you figure 3.
Okay, so it looks like what we have here, is a breakdown of the 4 competitors, or 3 competitors, and then ourselves, and how well we perform across 3 main metrics. So we have cost, quality, and delivery speed. Okay, if I can just take a minute, I'm going to think through this. Okay, so the main thing that I see is, we perform really well in quality, so that's fantastic as long as customers care about that. We do not perform well in delivery speed, so if that's something that is important, then that's a problem. And it looks like we're all pretty much along the same cost range. That might make me think that pricing is important, that we all price around the same way. But really, I'd want to hone in on this quality and delivery speed. Do we have any information as to what customers care about?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Here's an exhibit on the importance of car characteristics, characteristics for consumers.
Okay, so looks like here, again, we have the same metrics, so cost, quality, and delivery speed. And then across the products that you've mentioned we produce and our competitors produce, we have essentially how important these characteristics are across these products for, is this US customers, Japanese customers, or just kind of all customers here?
I believe this is for all customers.
Okay, fantastic. So just taking a look at this. So what I'm looking at here is I want to look at wheels, airbags, and seatbelts. We'll look at the other 2 potentially later, but with wheels, airbags, and seatbelts, this is really interesting. So quality is important, which is good because that's something that we're good at. But it looks like delivery speed is also incredibly important. So delivery speed is the most important characteristic for wheels and for seatbelts, and by quite a good margin, and it's quite close for airbags. So this is interesting. We perform poorly in delivery speed, and that is important to customers. Okay, so let me just make a quick note here. Okay, so in order to compete and get profits back, it looks like we probably need to essentially improve our delivery speed. So for me, I see 2 options. 1, we need to improve our delivery speed. 2, we need to kind of enhance other items within our products. Now, given that we are already good at quality, it doesn't sound like there's anything there, though please correct me if I'm wrong. And given that cost is not that important, it's just not something we should look at. I just wanted to check, is there anything we can do on the quality side that would change customer decisions? Or is there anything that isn't listed here that would change customer purchasing behavior? If not, we need to go into delivery speed, but I just kind of want to check on that here.
Thank you. We can go into delivery speed.
Okay. So for delivery speed, I wanted to check, so I see us being able to reduce delivery speed in a number of ways. 1, we can be faster in the way we currently do it. So if we're shipping by sea, can we accelerate those timelines? The second is finding a new way to deliver. So, train or plane or whatever it may be. And then the third is actually moving the actual delivery over to the US, although I should check where our production is. But if it's not in the US, then we need to produce there or have storage facilities there so that when customers order, it's right there, kind of like with what Coca-Cola did with their manufacturing of bottles right next to the client site. Do we have any information on that, options to reduce delivery speed?
We do. So currently manufacturing takes place in Asia, where costs are lowest, and then ships the products eastward over the Pacific Ocean to the US. It takes our clients 2 days to manufacture a product once they order it. It takes another 20 days to ship across the Pacific, and about 2 days to transport by road and rail in the US. Our local competitors don't have to ship to the US, so they only take a total of 4 days to manufacture and ship to buyers.
Okay, so really what I'm seeing here is you know, a small fraction. So 4 days out of 24 days. So really 1/5 of our total time is spent on the sort of manufacturing and transport in the US, and the rest is on shipping. So we clearly need to lower shipping costs. Is there a way that we can produce in the US like our competitors, or is there a way that we can manufacture there? Or finally, is there a way that we can get these shipping times down?
Our client has looked into this and determined that that's too capital and time intensive to do any of those options.
Okay, so just to confirm, there's really no movement here on the shipping that we can do.
Correct.
Okay. And even though it's only marginal, is there any way we can reduce our manufacturing times or the road and rail transport times? I mean, it's only 2 days, but if there's anything we can do there, maybe we can slightly improve our outcomes.
No, again, too expensive and time intensive to implement and dramatically affect margins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on this line of questioning, I'm at a bit of a dead end in terms of, you know, we have this root cause problem of the shipping. That is, you know, what customers care about. That would be the main way we could reduce. We can't reduce shipping times or delivery times anywhere else. So, you know, if we're kind of zooming back out and zooming up, the only thing I see in terms of being able to recover our profits across these three products is to do better elsewhere. So I just want to check, is there anything else we can do with wheels, airbags, and seatbelts in terms of, you know, pricing, you know, improving our quality, you know, or just improving something else, our perception, branding, just anything to be able to compete a little bit better, drive more profitability or volumes?
No.
Okay. Okay. So now just really a last question here. If we can't improve wheels, airbags, and seatbelts, you know, we do need to improve profitability. So I'm leaning towards, you know, if these are continuing to fall as they are, we actually might need to exit. But sort of a last item would be carburetors and AC units are doing quite well. You know, we need to do our due diligence to make sure that we're checking all boxes. And so can we make these even better? Can we sort of enhance them, sell more there, really enhance our stuff? Or are these future growth numbers really all sort of incorporating our existing initiatives, et cetera?
That's a good point. We can look into that. Currently, we don't have any additional information.
Okay, fantastic. So really what it comes down to is I think we need to cut wheels, airbags, and seatbelts. Is a bit unconventional, but we really have looked at all of these items, and that seems to be the only solution. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly, if it's all right with you, I'm going to quickly calculate what cutting those would do for our profits, given that we're seeing these declining profitability numbers. And I'll just get back to you with a final answer if that works for you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I've kind of calculated what happens if we cut these three, and it basically means we will save $74 million in terms of our profitability numbers. If it's all right with you, I'm going to come up with a sort of a final recommendation for us. That is, unless we have any other information out there that might affect this decision, any other markets we could go into, any other products we could launch, any other changes that we could really make as a company to kind of try to recover these falling profits?
No, you can proceed with yours.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. So ultimately, I recommend that we discontinue the wheel, airbag, and seatbelt lines in the United States, not in Japan, but in the United States. Doing so will save us $74 million in lost profitability into the next year. We should continue producing carburetors and ACs in the United States, and we should continue to sell all 5 products in Japan, at least for now. Some risks that I see with this are, we're significantly reducing the total sales that we have in the United States. We're cutting 3 products out of 5. And so I have some concerns here about long-term viability of the company if we do this. We're cutting a lot of our top line in order to save our profitability, but what does this actually mean in terms of our company? And so for me, the next steps would be we absolutely need to divest, and so we need to find a good seller or buyer for these, probably the competitors, see who's going to pay the most, but then we need to use that saved or that amount of cash that we get and our saved cash flows to grow in other areas. We absolutely need to redeploy that cash into where we are good. We noted that we have good quality of products across the board. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out what other products are out there that actually require good quality. And that, if it's in Japan, we don't have to worry about delivery. But if it's in the US, they need to be products where delivery speed is not that important. So, really those final steps are going to be finding other areas where we can recover some of this money and really continue to grow as a business, leveraging our strengths in areas where the weaknesses will not bring us down. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.